Right, welcome back to Nightingale's Motorcycling Restorers and Metal Finishers. Try and make this as exciting as I can. Right, a few things. So I'll go over the things I'm going to do, so you might keep you interested, and something might be of interest to you to watch a bit later on. So I'm going back onto my TLR200 heads. I'll just turn this off a minute, just 1 second. I'm watching a bit of telly, bit of Isle of Man. Right, so I'm going back onto my TLR heads. We've got some more ready and what I do to them, and a little bit of specialist ceramic coating. Also, we've got some carburetors coming for the TLR200s, which we're working on at the moment. We've finished on powder chroming now, well, chrome effect. And I think what we're going to actually do is that race bike we're going to build further on, which we hope to take to Cadwell, a big jigsaw from scratch up, so you'll see all specialist coatings. I think we've decided we'll do the frame in it and the wheels, just as a bit of difference. But you'll see that being built up when we get off these little peanut engines, which I always go on about. So we'll be back on these. Also on some ceramic coating, specialist coating on which goes in these heads and in our big Suzukis. Anything to do with performance related. We'll come back to that. I'm going to go into the workshop. I'll show you the Merlin engine, which we'd stripped down. And if you're new to the channel, I'll just brief you on that. I think we've got some Lambretta parts in, alloy. We've got some more Merlin bits from the same customer. And I'll show you some pictures on that, how it's coming along. And we'll go into the workshop and have a quick look. You might be interested in the TLRs. It's a new service I'm hopefully going to offer. And basically what it is, and I ain't saying we can't do this, I know people are going to go on, and I do get a few little comments about why do you put all this into ceramic coating and race engines, but we will be doing it with probably a big jigsaw engine for a full refurb. So this is going to be on TLR 200s. In a bit I'll get over, after I've shown you these few bits in the workshop, that we're going to do an exchange of an engine already done, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So that's for the guy who's doing his bike up at home. He's got problems with the engine, or it's just tired, and an exchange. But there's a lot to be said on that, because I've had a lot of input on this and ideas. So let's get back to Merlin engine. So if you're new to the channel, this customer don't mind me putting this on. He bought a Merlin, good rider, rides a lot of trials, new bikes, old bikes, classic bikes, all the rest of it. And he always wanted a Merlin with the spoked wheels. So we'll go back onto this in a minute with the spoked wheels. When I say spoked wheel, they're alloy rims with a spoke in with 10mm bolts, nuts and bolts in them to chew it up. So he brought me the engine in. I took the barrel off. First of all, we noticed the fin was missing, which I can put fins on. It's not a problem. Invisible repairs. You might not have seen any videos in the past, but I can also do a latex transfer. And as I've said, I don't get the luxury of big fins like this. I'm working to micro pinning, and I've done a couple of videos on them on some BSAs. So fortunately, as I've said again, that exhaust of this machine runs across here. So to be fair, when it's back together. So he's bought the bike off the internet site. I did put it in one of my videos where a bit of beginner's guide to restoring, because it could have happened to you at home. So he bought the bike off the internet, got it delivered by a courier, rides it round the garden, and then he brings it in. So he brings the engine in first. So head off it, barrel off it. This was all in black. Case was punctured in with a gear lever, and I started to strip it down. So once I got down with the barrel off it, it had no base gasket. So the piston was good, everything boxed up here nice as I've stripped it all down. The base gasket had disappeared, and I thought, right, they've got hold of the conrod in the crankshaft area, pulled it, and it's got play on it, and mains had the play. So he's giving at that point. So that's what I thought. That was the old. So he slapped it back together, bit of gasket go around the base, and sells it online. Which again, you, me could have bought this. So then the customer took it away, because I didn't want to put this on, and this head I'd brought back up by vapor blasting. It was all in black. You'll have seen it and cleaned it all. I didn't want to do it. So he took it, he had one opinion, then he had another opinion. The thing is, there's no opinion. The rod had play on it and the main bearings were going up and down. So he rides at a good level, but it doesn't matter if you just do it as a novice once every Sunday, occasionally. It was knackered. But you could still ride it and it probably start first kick. So anyway, got to the point, the engine comes back into me with the rod sticking out of it. Head and barrel as I'd taken off it. What we did then is, I said, I'll strip it down for you and have a look and get the crank out and investigate it. So that's where we're at now. So yeah, so it was time to strip down. So I stripped it all down. The only thing I did on some of the videos after I did the vapouring, it had punched a big hole in here. And I repaired that and then I powder coated it and got it back. That was just a hole where the gear lever had gone in it. So stripped the engine down. You've seen a couple of pictures probably. And the seals were all manky. We had this discoloration in here, which had signs the bearings were growling, which it looked like it'd been getting hot. And if one of the crankshaft seals had gone amiss as well, it could have been sucking air in, reducing the mixture, weak mixture, and you can get this kind of effect. But I've just put these in the ultrasonic tank, and I actually think it probably hasn't been overheating. I think it's just old stale fuel, because this is the kind of stuff I get when I repair or sell you my tank sealers or tank cleaner, my own brand stuff for cleaning out old stale fuel. Or after that, if you've got to put a tank liner in it, hope you don't ever have to, but I sell that as well. Proven stuff, which we do in the workshop. So I've given them a quick rinse down. We've kicked the bearings out. We've got them back. So we'll do you a drop down photograph of these close up, and then I'll tell you the next stage. Right, so again, I'm just telling you, if you've just come into this, what we've done with this particular project now. So my process in the workshop, even on race engines, is that any internals, bearing houses, so this will be cleaned back first, degreased it was, ultrasonic, 6,000 watt ultrasonic, double pulse machine. We'll get rid of all this. And then we'll actually still mask these up, and then we'll do all the internals with soda. One process, soda. Out, rinse off, because we've got no metallic objects blasting into anywhere, right? It's just so water soluble. So once I've got it to that stage, we'll just blank this up, and this casing here, we'll take off then with a very light oxide and a bit of walnut, talcum powder, near on, that's fine. We'll take this back, we'll actually gas these out, acetone them, prep for a ceramic coating. Now he's had loads of stuff done with me, this guy, in ceramic coating, and what he wants to go for with this, he wants to go for titanium. So you'll have seen the picture of this drop down now, this how it is now. We've got it cracked down, this machine, and the next pictures you'll see in another video when I go on mixture of things to try and keep you interested, and hopefully one of your projects will come up that you want to get on with. This will be titanium casing, so that's about 625C, petrol resistant, brake fluid resistant, factory finish, inclusion free. So that's the next stage with them. I've only got one more bearing to take out, a blind bearing down there, but everything's good, nothing's been cracked or done anything, and I think they'll be fine. So when I got this cracked in half now, this little peanut engine, it came away so easy. Every bolt, every nut, everything. Couple of pullers I've said I had to get. Well, I had, but they were unusual pullers, just fluke I had them. It fell apart. When I got it cracked in half, there was a series of pins in the bottom, which that was the first sign. So someone had got further down than I actually thought. I thought it was just because there was play on the rod and some mains bearings gone, and they didn't want to crack it down to replace it all. Getting the main bearing for the conrod, once it's cracked and ready for balancing up, it won't be a problem. It'll probably be similar to a bull taco, because all this engine come from this kind of era. So what happens then, I started looking at the gears, because these pins had come out. One of the forks, the selector forks, had It hadn't blued off, it had worn. Not like when you've ever seen a bike with rear sets on, early days, and you're pushing your foot on it and it's pushing the forks across on the gears, and we get bluing and they can come off and blow up and go in the gearbox, trap it all up and it spits you off. These wasn't blued, so it wasn't as if it had excess play going across. It was something moving it across because it was a different type of wear. So the bearings were in the bottom, but the thing is, when we inspected, now the only way I can show you, and then I'll tell you what happened next, I've just put my scope. You might be, the only reason I'm doing it, that's on the cog there, that's to the camera. That's actually the teeth along each tooth now. Because what happened is, you might get this again, I think I showed it on another video, there. That's gone. It's a tooth gone. I think it's off second gear. And the thing is, by me looking at the rest of the cog and investigate, that's the edge of it. So something's gone round it. The funny thing is, though, that the cog itself, the tooth, wasn't in the gearbox. So we've now followed this trail even further. And part of that restoration beginner's guide was, you might not get as far as this, or it might be a mate who's stripping it down for you. This is how unlucky you could be. Because you bought a bike, it was running, now we're cracking it down. And the danger with this is a Merlin 350 single cylinder trials bike with mag wheels of all things, which throws you out a bit. So what happened then is, you're telling the customer, we've taken the bearings out, so can you, I ain't bothered if you go and trace your own bearings or seals, not bothered. Go and find them, but now you've got a gear gone. Now we could have a gear cut, but it costs hundreds of pounds. And then a story and how long it's going to take, and be a fortune. So again, the powers of internet and videos. This gearbox he found in Italy. Now a customer did come forward, and he might be watching now. I appreciate that, but it wasn't for me, it was for the customer. And he has a bottom end for one of these, look, which I'd have had the engine, you know. But he'd just done this, so he didn't buy it because he didn't know that story. So this has come from on Friday, this has come from Italy. And what I'm basically doing now, I was going to just put the cog on it and put it back together, this gearbox. But after looking at some of these, they've had a little bit of telltale of stuff going round, and all these roller pins as well. You know, they've been circular, though they were sat in the bottom, they'll probably been round. So what I've decided to do, the gearbox coming like this, the only thing I've got original with it is actually the selector drum. And I've had the scope round it, and I've had the scope round all these teeth, and this matching these together is the right way to do it. So I'm going to put the full box in of this Donner bike and the original selector drum. So I think we're nearly getting there. You know, we're at a stage now where, apart from the crankshaft coming back, I'll start preparing these, so you'll see these finished. I'll actually do a video on that, me painting these, once they've been gassed out and acetoned. And we want a factory finish. So we're going to be sitting it on titanium with that head he wants, in that colour, he didn't want that paint, with that barrel, sorry, and then the head on it. So it should look quite nice. Then match with the casings I repaired, put that together. So we're going to have titanium, black, and this silver. So that's where we are with that. There's no point me going through a process now because it's boring. You've seen a lot of the services. So that's the next stage. So that'll be getting, once a crack, but I'll show you me painting them. And if you ever want outdoing, and as I say, it's amazing under the scope what you actually see, and it's worth it because it can catch you out. You know, I know it's only a little engine, but competition. It'll be in the competition. So the next thing we're going on to is some of his wheels, the spokes. I've done the back wheel, I've done polish. He's now done one and put it together. He's then stripped it down. I'll show you the spokes for it, which are like alloy bars, and I'll do you a picture, and I'll show you them as they are now, and then I'll do them when they're paint. I'll do paint them when I'm doing these, so you'll see them finished. So we'll just do a picture now on the wheels, mocked up in the frame I've done in zinc coated, red powder coat. It's traffic light red, Ferrari red, and then clear coat lacquered. So we'll do that photograph now. So right, so these are the spokes, the alloy spokes, and these make the wheel up, and you'll have seen now, as you see, you can't get your head round a trials bike having alloy wheels. But yeah, they just go together with little 8 or 10 mil nuts and bolts on them. So what I'll do is, wheel's been stripped down because he's just done it as a dummy, because he's actually had a new hub made for the front, which is absolutely amazing, been turned out. He's brought these back in. I've done the back wheel, but I thought I'd show you doing them next time. So I'll prep them, we'll ultra fine blast them, do the usual procedure, gas out, acetoning them, and we're going to do them in a star silver. But that picture shows you the frame I've done. So it's starting to come together. A few weeks ago, that was the same bike which had the fiberglass tank and seat unit. It had an hole in it, and I had to rebuild the underneath of it in fiberglass, put the hole, get rid of the hole, and then I used our resin sealer 2-pack to do that. I've used it for years, and now we sell it. And as I said, if you haven't watched the videos and you're new to the channel, the reason I've stopped doing tanks, bringing them in, it was because of the postal service. I was having damage and dents and getting blamed if anything happens. And you just can't help it. They just throw things, you know, and it's life. And it's too high risk. The hassle's too high risk. So we'll move on to the next thing now. So these are a set of forks he's brought in as well. These are a posh pair of forks. They aren't the original Merlin forks. He's bought these separately. And what he wants me to do is, he wants me to ceramic coat these in red. So what we do, even if you're at home now and you've got some scabby fork legs, it could be alloy fork legs which you've either got sizzle banding, polishing, polished and lacquered, original 70s where we've got shadows going in. We do all that here. But you can't put these in the oven like this because you've got seals in it and oil. So what we do is we go for a ceramic coating. We'll put tubes on here, same as if you've got a set at home and you don't want to strip them and you want them polishing or bringing back or all the dings taken out of them. I'll just tube them up, take the bottom. So what we'll do with this, we'll tube it up. We'll do a ceramic coating. He wants this in traffic light red as well, like the Ferrari red. There's a bit of Mockley pitting, which is a factory finish. So we want to keep that because that's nice. There's no nasty dings in them. And harsh media, you see, he'd wipe that off. You'd send that like top of my head, bald. So that's got a nice finish on it. So what we'll do that with, it's such a light oxide. We'll take that back, tube it up, and I'll also show you us on me painting these as well. But they'll look nice with this bike. So that's the Merlin up to now, and we'll move on to the next one. Right, so we'll show you the next bit in the workshop. There's a lot more stuff in, it's just that not everybody I can show the parts. This is off a Lambretta. Surprising how many chassis I do for Lambrettas and Vespas, wheels, and but a lot of engine cases. So this is how they usually come in kind of the standard condition. So what we're going to do with this, it's the same thing as I said before. Anything internal we'll do with soda. We'll go for degreasing first, ultrasonicing. Once it's ultrasonicked, we'll then take it back, solder it. We'll solder all this in here, all soldered. And then what we'll do then is we'll hit this with a really fine oxide. I've done a drop down of this, so I'll show you this after I've finished talking on this one. And then once we've done that, we'll go for a really high finish of vapor blasting. Probably one of the highest, when I say colours, it's glass, and make it bling and light all this up. So when that Lambretta's put back together, this is part of showtime. I mean, we've got a few dings and scrapes on it, you know, a few bits of tweaks and a few bits missing now again. Customers might ask me to do this, but you can see that. But I can build that back up if anyone wanted that. I can build that. You wouldn't even see that. And even like scars like this, where something's been chafing on it, we can blend that round But the main thing is, of course, when we blast it, we'll still have that highlighted as the engine number. We don't lose any identification. So you'll see a drop down picture of it now as it is, and then in another video I'll follow you on. If you're watching the channel, you'll see how it's come on. This is better because you've not got me stood in front of a machine showing you the processes, and you know, I'm bored of it, never mind you. So that's that. Right, we're going to get back onto the bench now and tell you about a new service and a bit of update on the TLR200 cylinder heads. Back onto the TLR200 cylinder heads. Just telling you where we are, really. I mean, the idea is that if we get some close-ups of these are to supersede, as many of you know, the old cylinder head, and it goes straight on as a new unit onto your TLR200, which puts your bike straight away on steroids, yet rideable, and just makes the bike run better, especially if you're into your competition, not even into competition, just riding the TLR200 for standard. As I harp on about, you know, these were trail bikes, and as I have said in many videos, I used to PDI these when they were new. Trail bikes, that's it. So my heads, when they go on, again, just updating anyone new to the channel, the top of the rocker box, if you get close up with that colour, that's a ceramic transfer grey. Now it's a specialist coating to get heat away. It's like we use in race engines, radiators, water cooled, oil coolers. You're dispersing it, you're throwing it away from the source. And I'm going to, you know, it's a TLR200 engine. You've got to understand it doesn't matter what process or a race engine, or we're trying to get longevity. Once you've gone past rolling roads and you're trying to find that next thing, friction, all reductions and heat dispersants, that's where you'll find all the top men are playing with ceramic coatings at. So that's the first thing. So you get it as that. And then the modification, of course, is the camshaft. It's an airlift cam, and where this was just on a fixed steel on the actual cam itself, we're now on the double bearings. So we fit in nice and smooth. Got the bigger valves, the input, the inlet and the exhaust makes a big difference. And we've had a bit of tweaking to the ports there. We just gas flowed them a bit. Obviously we've had these heads on machines on rolling roads and built them for many years now and had some good expert riders on them. So we've covered everything, but longevity is the best thing. So what we're going to say next is, in the heads which go out, we ceramic coat the valves. So what you see there is the heads of the valves done. So that's another coating. That's a coating what I'd use the same on the crown of the piston, the top of the piston. There, look, on bikes. So this is another source which is keeping the energy in. Instead of transferring it through the piston down into the crankcase, we're keeping it in. So that's another coat. That's number 2 coating on these heads I do. And then the final coating I do on the shafts. I also do the shafts. These have just been painted. Now this is a ceramic coating and it's a micro slick. So it's the same coating which I use for friction on the sidewalls. As when you've bought pistons, you'll have this side coating on of it. Some of it's just a satin black. But it should be a ceramic coating. Again, it's for friction, right? This is for an heat sensitive, so it doesn't go through. It's stopping it, it's keeping it in. So it's 3 separate coatings there, and that's if I do a piston, even for TLRs, not just any race machines or vulnerable bikes. I mean, when we talk about ceramic coating, in the 70s, 80s, when we're on the triple Kawasaki's and your production racing bikes, your RDs, and they were just on verge of nipping up, you'd have been all over it with this ceramic coating. I've said it before, I'll keep saying it. If we had that now, you know, we had it then, we'd be all over them engines. So so that's what comes next. Obviously this gets put on, and then you either have one of our covers which is on, which you can see the timing chain going round. The only thing you've got, you can still put your cover on. The only thing we ask is that you retain your sprocket, your cam chain sprocket, because you're matching it up with your crankshaft sprocket and your chain. And that's easy to do that. So there's some more ready now, ready to go out. I'll talk about it in a minute, about what this new idea I've got, which isn't really an idea. I've been thinking of it for a while, and tell you what else we're doing with on this model of bike, TLR200 engines. So right, so just finishing off on the engines, on the heads, sorry, on the TLR200. These have just come out the spray booth, and as I say, painted, ceramic coated for dispersant there, and then like the equivalent to a piston coat on the shaft. What we actually do when they dry, after 24 hours, 000 wire wool, we'll just be giving these a very light dust over, like that. That's all it gets. And same when we do any pistons, after 24 hours, on the side, not on the top. We just, like that, and just check. I mean, we're spraying at 0.8 thousandth of an inch, micro spraying. Everything's through, as I've said many times, a 325 filter, and we're filtering through metal strainers. So we're perfecting it. Inclusions, just, we don't want to talk about inclusions. So even the camshaft in here will be ceramic coating. Now you can see that probably close up, painted and finished. You know, there's not an inclusion or a pit. There can't be. It's a camshaft or a piston. So what we'll still do, 24 hours, we just give that a very light with a 0 over it with wire wool, take the tapes off, and then that's ready for another head. We'll assemble this. The valve springs they're doing with a piston coat, and then the last thing I do to them is I just get a bit of silver, because the identification is obviously the larger the gap of the spring to the shorter side, you put the larger to the top. That's why when you take springs off, you may see a line, a red line or an orange line, and you always put the line to the top. As the spring goes narrower with the gap in it, they always go to the seat, they always go to the bottom. So it's just for future. But then again, they're ceramic coated in equivalent to a piston coat to get oil dispersant away from it. And it's no difference from this engine to a big racetrack engine bike, which you are going to see us build it and hopefully take it to Cadwell Park for a demo. It's a process we do in workshop. It's all about longevity and value for money. So them heads are ready. That's the filter I was going to show you again. Look, that's what we're straining through. 325mm. Now, where does all this start? Well, if some of you, obviously a lot of people know me in the trade of different things, but I still do servicing and fault finding on multi-million-pound spray plants. I'm on about spray plants which, you know, has 700 people on the shop floor, 60 million quid. The robots are £2 million each, probably 6 of them. Half a football pitch upstairs. And when years ago we service cleaned, and then I used to run a team on certain plants, and then we got into fault finding, because I have part to do still with environmental health, which is the other business we have, on malodor, low dB, high decibel sounds, rotary concentrators, abatement plants. This is on a big scale, everything you touch. So when I get involved, and I've just come off a plant recently, about 4 hours away from here, it's the same conversation. We go in a meeting, as the same I've done for 30 years. You'll have an health and safety officer, an ops manager, probably a divisional director, maybe a CEO, a robot technician. You'll have some Germans involved with certain construction probably, and then we'll have a chemist, because we've got probably big wetbacks, or we'll have an electrostatic man, because it's no curtains, it's no water curtains, it goes into filter media. And we're talking filters of thousands of pounds a week, 3-stage filters, no Mickey Mouse stuff, big capacity, 24 hours running, and tracks which take 6 hours to come round. So that's where years ago, when I started with all this ceramic coating, I got more involved with it, because it's a bit like a spray plant. If you go to you're going for a fault finding, well, look, it's called RFT, and that's, if I paint that, is it right first time, where it doesn't have inclusions in it, because inclusions cost you money. The end result, I've worked for the biggest giants in the motor, and still do, in the motor industry, and the one of the secrets when we turn up, because we're just one of a contractor in a group of people in a room talking about right first time and continuous improvement programs. And a lot of you'll be laughing out there, because there'll be many ops managers or team leaders who've sat in more meetings and talking about the same thing for years. But at the end of the day, you come out of it and you're trying to get big production plants. So we get involved with all these type of people who'll give me a call. As I say, it can be from a chemist, a robot, or somebody who's on a plant that's worked at another plant we've been involved with. And that's not only automotive, it's trains as well. Could even be on the coach side, you know. But we're usually a few hours away from Scarborough before we hit the first one. So still talking about finishes and that, there's one thing you do in a big site. You've never been there, but it's the same process. You have your set format of what you're going to do. Now, it's a bit like when the king comes round. Everyone paints the floor and everything, or there's a big visit, or you've had a pull from one of your major company players. They call these people in, and we all put our bit in, and we're all a cog round the table. And we go out on the shop floor and listen to the same thing, same factory, same business in another area. It's the same conversation. But there's one thing they always teach you in painting. You always assess if there's a polishing area. Now, this can go from a back room hidden away with a few people in it with some orbitals, because if it isn't right first time, it has an inclusion in it. And that inclusion could be a fibre, it could be electrostatic problem, it could be a paint problem, a solids problem, a humidity problem, a jig problem causing rebound, because I'm into retorts and the format when I used to be into methylene chloride and acids, and then it went on to retorts, and not only designer jigs and then cleaning jigs for PSI bounce back. So you're looking at the parts at the rework. But if anyone sees a polishing bay, that's your worst nightmare. Polishing isn't a conversation. So you put things, filter it through, clinically clean, your process is right. But unfortunately, we're in the real world. 24-hour shifts coming on, pattern shifts coming off, different people, agency people, nothing wrong with them. It's just that they probably had the training, or anyone that had the training, big cutbacks. So we lose things. And you can't blame anybody. When you walk on most factory floors, it's always, or in a meeting, it's his fault. And it's really no one, because everyone on the factory floor is as important as the man in the office upstairs, because they're all cogs. And if you don't get the feedback off the man off the factory floor, you'll never get the truth. And they're working with it. So that's what I get up to when I'm not in this side of the business. The other side of the business, we're air ventilation and ducting certification. So all the big places, from your castles to food restaurants, and about 450 right the way up to the Lake District. I have a couple of engineers on that side, and we service ducting systems and air ventilation systems, swab testing. But my side can still be malodour, which is your smells emitting from a factory, foul, noise, and then fault finding in big paint plants. That's what I specialise in. So it's just a bit of a background. These days have changed because I've stepped back, but I'm still ready to go out in case. But as I say, it's usually someone in the trade. But the joke is, just as a finish off, with our little friend here, which you see me going on about, the old rattle can. One time I was in a meeting, this is a bit boring, but you might find it funny. And a guy off the shop floor come up, and we've been talking. Remember, we've got £2 million robot surrounded by us. a size of a football pitch to spray plant. 25 people front of house and stacks of injection moulding machines making all the parts. And a guy turned up in a meeting off the shop floor with a part and one of these after 5 minutes. And what he actually said, they passed the part round and they said, "Oh, it's fantastic. No inclusions, no nothing." And he said, then he produced this thing, my best friend here, which you see me. And he said, "I sprayed that in my shed at home. I sprayed it with a tin in my shed. And we've got a plant out there worth £75 million and 40 people." So really, it still goes in me bucket, but it just shows you in the real world, someone who used his bit of thing saying, you know, he's got a panel in front of him. As I say, it could be off a big giant automotive, it could be part of a train, or it could be part of plant equipment, because plant equipment now for the shows, it wouldn't matter before, tractor, but now you get at a show, the paint finish, it's all got to last years, 12, 13 years. They don't want it peeling off. So that's a bit on the background of paint, but a lot of that started to change with ceramic coating in certain parts. So that's how I got into it, and spraying at this kind of level. And we spray these thousandths of an inch, same as the camshafts, and the piston coating, we're deeper on the piston coating, but we're sprayed to a particular type. We then measure it with a meter. We don't just do one for look. These are all on what we call a C series, so they're air cured, so we don't have to mix a resin, because the resin would make it deeper. And there's a chap just brought one of these in, RD250, all damaged and bashed in. Now that's done with a bit different colour, because there's so many blacks. So what we've done this in, he likes this, there is a bit of erosion on it, but we blasted it back. This is actually black velvet, so it's not the satin you see, like you saw some done the other day. It's black velvet, which sits quite nice, because he wants to make it a little bit stealthy. He's doing a bit different. So again, a nice colour, it sits well. So right, finally, we'll get onto the engines. So these TLR200s I do, and building here. One of the questions is, and how many do I get a year? 1, 2? It's such a low percent of actually brand new, where you want to change it back. You bring it in as your old donor bike, a donor bike, and you think, right, leave it to him, and you pick all your colours. And we maybe have another one. This was one I built for a guy 2 years ago. Well, me and Nigel Finnegan built this one. Nigel does a lot in the workshops in his spare time, when he has time, and we work on them. But it's all been done here. Head angle, footrests, all the rest of it, all done in-house here. So what I decided to do, having a think on it, was the biggest majority of customers were the TLR200s. Now remember, we can change this, because I'm doing the footprint for big Gixxer engines. So if somebody wants a Gixxer engine, are they ready, a fast tuned up one with a rolling road report when it's put back together, all ceramic coated and modular, you can have it at different levels. That's what I'm hoping to show you on the race bike. So you could have a rideable classic, which just takes it off that bit off the throttle, or a bit more top end, still be reliable, or you can go for the full blown thing. But when we come back to these, I've gone back to the engine. So if you look at that engine close there, that's a finished engine, which we've stripped down from scratch and put back together in that colour, because that customer wanted it in that colour. So I've opened it up a bit further. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to take an engine, a TLR200 engine, in the next few weeks, and I'm just going to do you the difference between one we've done in our Rothmans bike. So I'll show you that picture now. So that picture there is of a different format. We've got a little bit of a polished head. We've got the fins taken back, sprayed in black. It was actually done in that black velvet and then polished. We've got the crankcase is highly polished, the outsides, sorry, the covers, the clutch cover and your timing cover. And then we did the centre a different colour. So we've had that one in the past in white, black. So the idea is, and a lot of people say this, what are you messing about with trials bike for? Some people do take great pride in these bikes and riding them, even if it's only on a Sunday, odd Sunday ride. And you've got to remember, it's your hobby. It doesn't matter if someone says, why do you do that? It's your hobby. Do what you want. And if you can do a lot of this at home, as I always say, fantastic. And I might, or you've got a guy like me again, you'll get some ideas. If not, you can post it to me. So you get to a point, you bought your bike and you think, right, I can strip it down. You've got a guy who probably is doing in your area the head modification, cutting the head stock off and doing the footrest. And you know, you powder coating it or whatever, or ceramic coating it, and you think, right, the engine's a bit of a no-go, even though it's the size of a peanut again. So you think, right, I'd like it tuning up, you know, bit of a fat lad with a bald head. You're thinking, right, bit more beef on it. It's only a 200, you know, in its standard form, it was good for going over molehills, really. And now we can turn it into something a bit different. Different shocks. So you can start building your bike up, but you can, instead of bringing it in here and spending a lot more money, I'm thinking that we do the engine for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this engine together rough again, with nothing inside, but I'm going to dress it as if it's like that one you've just seen, ready on a stand. So why I've done it that way is, I will be doing it that way, I've tried to think of all the ideas you're going to say to me, of what I would say to you when you're sending it in to me. So I'll tell you that now. So some of the questions which are going to be, you know, the kickstart mechanisms inside the engine, so it has to be cracked. We've got main bearings. So what I'm going on our standard format, as you've seen me soda blasting. Insides will vapor blast or walnut it, light oxide, do your casings, but you can pick your colours. Now, to people listening out there, they're thinking, oh, bloody hell, bloody child bike, you're picking colours. But this is part of someone's hobby, right? And if it's an hobby and you want your bikes and they're looking cool like this, that's your priority, isn't it? So what we can offer is, you can have what you want on the outside, but internally, obviously, we'll be doing the crank, we'll be balancing it, we're putting new mains in, gearbox bearings, any modifications we know over the years. We'll be putting one of our cylinder heads on it, a bit of tweak on ports, as I say, the valves coated, bigger valves, high lift cam, new kickstart mechanism in it, brand new, and we'll follow it through, soda blasted on the inside, all the rest of it again. And then when we get it together, you can then choose if you want it polishing, you want it ceramic coating. Now, the only time we'd move into a powder coating on the casings is like the one I've just shown you on the 350 single there, where it's punctured in. So with ceramic coating, we don't have the luxury of the primer again. We're straight onto the substrate, so you'd see that. So we would zinc it after the repair, but you could pick what colour you want. In any of your colours, anything in a RAL, you can have anything done where we can powder coat, obviously each sensitive areas, and really I'd like to keep this kind of format on the top with the, because this works, your camshaft's done and all the rest of it, but that's the only time if we did a repair to an outer casing. The next big question I thought about, what happens if you or me had a bike and we've got a matching engine and frame number, and it means something to us because we've got it registered. Why I'm putting this engine together loose is, and show you in another video, is you can then go, right, I've got an engine, I want my original casings. If I built you an engine today and put it on there, all polished, that head on it, that thing, showtime, I might even have my own barrel soon. If not, we'd replace the piston, we'd be reboring it. If I had that dummy one on there done now as an exchange, because my idea is you just take your unit out and put this unit back in, the full engine. It wouldn't be the colours, it'd be over bling. You didn't want chrome, you didn't want this, you didn't want the finning, you didn't want... So what I'm leaving it is, Leave it for you to decide. But if you want the matching engine number, your engine comes into me, we give you a drop down of all the services, the colours or polishing, but then we'll put your crankcases onto this engine as we build it, because you want matching engine. I can see why. So rather than if I did an engine, you'd say 9 times out of 10 say I ain't bothered, it's not registered, it never will be. But it's as important as when I powder coat and you see me blank off and blast the frame number and leave it outstanding. Engine frame numbers mean a lot in restoration, so I know where you're coming from. So that's my idea with the engines. You bring it in, send it in to me, we'll have a part exchange of the engine unit, and you'll get an engine fully rebuilt, also the paper trail with it, which everything we do in here on restoration is paper trail, because if you come to sell it, you can see all the things from the gaskets, the bearings, the blasting. There'll be a full picture of it being taken down. You get it home, you get it in a little crate, you take it out and you put it in your bike, and that's it. Strap a carburetor to it and your good ignition system and you're away. So of the slice of the cake of that particular model, remember I've got something else coming in. I've got a Guzzi Mark III coming back in for restoration, full restoration. Restoration of bikes in a recession and the real world is all spending money is only fallback work, because there's not that many people spending the money. Anything's an hobby from a tenner to spend on your bike. So you can get the heads off me now, posted out to you with all the I've just said to you done, and I reckon I've got 3 weeks before I've got the price list and everything else on an engine exchange. And if you wanted your engine numbers on it, we're off. If not, we'll build you an engine ready to go, competitive and reliable. As you saw in one of the pictures, we took the camshaft out of one of our bikes, which we'd run for 18 months, the Rothman one. And some of the questions I also get asked on specialist coatings is, if you think about it, if you could put something on a piston that didn't wear off, then you've cured the world, haven't you, in the automotive industry alone. What it is, it's a protection. It's like a Teflon frying pan, you know, so it doesn't stick. It's just a protection. This camshaft, these valves, why? It's all about oil flow. The only thing I will say I do on any race engines, when you'll be seeing the one again with the big Suzuki, your crankcase internals, once we've done them with solder and cleaned them out, I do the internals with also a piston coat. I'm getting maximum oil flow. Because remember, these bikes have gone from Norman riding it round town at traffic lights, you know, with his suit on in the 70s, 80s, to them like jumping up on skips now, so they spend their life like this. So you're trying to get maximum oil around everything, to that little oil pump, and everything flowing, and its longevity. And the last thing I'll finish on with these, let's face it, they've had this engine alone in all the ranges of Hondas, they've had the bloody money out of it, because in the format, what fits rods and different things, and obviously you've seen us talk about different gearboxes in them engines, which I say now, and if you're new to the channel, I've fitted them gearboxes where we've closed it up first to second, because remember it was a trail bike. That's why we still tweak a bit of heads and do a bit of mods. I still think that when you fit one of these heads, wherever you get one from, I've seen a few of these heads from different companies, even in Spain, and they're all brilliant. They all do a cracking job. And you put one of these on and it transforms the bike. So I think at that point, it's a good 1 foot workshop, showing you a few pictures, a few things what we're up to. The next video will be showing you a bit of painting. I'll do them crankcases at Charles' bike. I'll have more info on the engine, because I'm hoping just to have a fixed price and then an extra if you want all the polishing. Again, don't worry too much about your outer casings. What you see as a bad casing, I'll have it in the shop, diamond grinded, polished, or prepared for painting. If it's that bad, I'll repair it like I did on that bike, that casing, and then I'll powder coat it for you. So there's always a plan B. Again, appreciate you subscribing and any comments. If you've got any comments on your engines or any ideas, this could be on a bigger engine. Don't mean to say on one of these little peanut engines. I'd appreciate that as well. We're based in Scarborough, North Yorkshire, as I say every time, 01723 370 399. You can drop me an email. And once again, I've got a few more bits in the workshop through the videos, which I do appreciate, that I wouldn't usually get from away, not Scarborough, that have sent me in saying, could you have a look at this, Rick? Could you give it a blast? I'll put it back in the post for you. A couple of finishes, because you're building something up and you just don't know whether you can just give it that tweak, because you know, you may be not streetwise with a lot of, are up to date with aqua blasting and different medias. Polishing, different stages of polishing. And then the final thing, I'm onto some carburetors for the TLRs. I'm just jetting them up, and I think what I'm going to do, these have come from Germany. I'm just jetting them from another source. I've measured everything, gone through everything, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this customer's bike, because I know that's a new engine build, a new bike. And if I've got no rain and grass in my section round, trial section round the back, and it's sunny, I'll because I don't want to get his tyres dirty. Though it's been built 2 years, that, as I said to you, I built that one. We do 2 models. We do one up from that. Obviously, you can go aluminium swinging arms and all the rest at bling. And he put it on a shelf in his garage, and he rides trials as well. So he's just having a change around at the moment. So I said, can I just put it in here for a bit of storage? I also did a big Ducati for him, a Palagana. They put a stone through radiator. So I did that. He's got a lot of bikes in his collection. So yeah, so that's it for today. Again, thanks for watching. I'll keep you genned up on all these things. I'm just trying to not go through the thing of watch me blast this and do that, as I've said. And we might get some pictures on the next one. And any thoughts on your engine, the engine exchanges, put in your comments. Thanks very much.